A Bug's Life was, I think, the combination of the hardest movie we worked on and the most fun.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, it's funny. I have both those sort of knee-jerk responses when I think about the time period of that. It's like, it may not have literally been the hardest thing we've worked on, but it felt like the hardest thing I've ever worked on.
The story was so gigantic. It was too big.
It was.
right?
It was like going from freshman class of how to make a movie with Toy Story to senior thesis. It was just this huge
Well, and
leap.
it did have every complication, though, right? It had cast of thousands, widescreen, uneven ground plane,
Organic,
everything.
translucency, and a lot of sets, because there was a lot of places that they went.
Yeah.
Remember how you didn't want to tell the ending to the TDs because they'd freak out because there was fire and smoke?
Well, and plus, I don't know, I think we felt the future of the studio was resting on it.
We had gone public.
Right.
We had gone public. This was our first movie being public. It was our second film, and there's a history of one-hit wonders where their second album, their second film, that hasn't worked. And so it was like, hey, John, no pressure, but the whole company and all your stockholders are riding on this.
No pressure. No pressure. No pressure, Scott. Big light.
It was the last time that we were kind of one company working on one picture.
It's when also the whole animation department really gelled as a group. But it was so much fun back then. Do you remember the first version of the story? There was the main character was named Red. It was a red ant. He was not part of the colony. He was part of the circus troupe.
He was the ringmaster.
And he was desperate to try to find work for these guys. And Flick and Grub from the colony came up trying to hire some bugs, warrior bugs. But we just kept running into problems with him being the main character, because he could leave at any time and it was okay.
Right.
Well, what had happened is we had been banging our head against that for maybe a year and a half.
Yeah.
And you'd come back from the opening of The Rock.
That's right.
And you came in and said, you can think whatever you want about the movie, but Nicolas Cage, he's such a winning main character, and we don't have that.
Yeah.
And a couple months earlier, I had started to sense that it wasn't working, but I was afraid to say what I was thinking. What if the guys that went and got the circus bugs, one of those ants, it was his movie? Because then it's their family. They can't leave the problem they've created.
You're the one that kind of taught me that and taught all of us that about you do, what if? And you throw out this crazy idea.
What if Toy Story started where they fall out of the van on the gas station?
Andy!
It throws your thinking into a place you can't get it any other way.
And oftentimes you don't go with that idea, but it has changed your thinking, and now it breaks you through that.
And so I said, well, what if Flick was the guy that went and made the mistake of getting the wrong people? So I just started writing that scenario and just thought, I said, I'm going to just write this to myself until it doesn't work. Is that going to be on page 5, page 10? I think I got like 30 pages in or something. And so when you came in that morning and said, I have to admit, guys, I've seen what our problem is. I said, all right, I have this script. Boom, and I put it down. And it was like 30, 35 pages.
Yeah.
And you read it?
Yeah, it made me look like a genius. But,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, about that proposition, I'm looking for tough warrior bugs.
Stand back! We are the greatest warriors in all bugdom!
Hiya! And then they scream, a bee! And in comes Chaim like, I'm a cute little bumblebee!
Joe, in every movie, he would see something early on in the script or an idea, and he'd go, oh, that seems fun, and he would take it by himself and go storyboard it out. And inevitably, whatever he did that first stayed nearly intact into the movie all the way. He did the children's play where all the circus bugs find out they're supposed to be warriors and kill all these grasshoppers.
Merle, we have drawn a few bugs helping us fight the grasshoppers away.
Oh, look at the beautiful colors of the blood.
We drew one of you dying because our teacher said it would be more dramatic.
And it was so hilarious what he did. I die, die, die.
I die, die, die.
Well, then there was Fleabee.
Oh yeah, Fleabee. The story of Fleabee was, it was Christmas of '96.
That's right.
And so Disney was having a big satellite meeting where they were linking up their studios
It was
in
at Tri-Studio
Glendale,
Uplink.
Florida, and Paris.
He wanted us to give him something.
And so you, me, Pete, and Joe, and Lee, we just filmed stuff. We all split up and did all sorts of different stuff. And Joe always did the dubbing of like a Hong Kong movie. You know, the way he did that was so funny. And he said, oh, it's okay, just Joe will do my voice for me.
Yeah.
Right? So I just stood there and went,
Hello, my name is John Lasseter.
Hello, my name is John Lasseter. You may remember me as the director of Toy Story.
Elbingby had that great puppet that as you open the mouth, it had this light sensor and made this great kind of weird noise. And so we nicknamed it Fleabee.
Fleabee, come down here, Fleabee. My dear friend Fleabee, how are you this fine morning? Why, certainly, go right ahead and show our esteemed Tri-Studio Satellite Uplink friends around the new production of Bugs.
And then Lee just walked through the whole studio, and he did the worst chroma key.
Hey, Drum, look, it's Fleabee!
Hello, Fleabee.
Would you like to see some delicious preliminary animation tests?
And we did that thing where we put the camera on the side.
On a project such as Bugs, eventually our crew is able to think and act as if they too were insects themselves.
It took us like a day and a half to make this thing, and then we shipped it.
You gotta remember, they were showing all these other movies with these
Really
big, serious, fancy presentations, and we were at the very end. You know, Lindsay works here now because of that. She was working at Disney, my producer, Lindsay Collins, and she saw that after all these slick presentations. She goes, I want to work with those guys.
Say goodbye, Fleabee.
And we had amazing casting on this movie, amazing actors.
Put your trust in the mysteries that are beyond mere mortal comprehension.
Jonathan Harris.
Jonathan Harris was great because, you know, I grew up with him on Lost in Space on TV, and that blew me away more than meeting a big star at the current time, because there's something about meeting somebody that you've just seen every day in your living room as a kid for years.
Remember all his amazing stories of acting on Broadway and
Who
stuff?
still owes him $1?
Marlon Brando.
Yeah, that's right.
Marlon Brando owes me $1. And they go off to tell this great story. He was the best storyteller.
For some reason, I had to stay up at Pixar, and you guys got to record with him for the first time, and I was so frustrated. And then suddenly my phone rings in my cubicle, and I pick it up, and it goes, hello, is this Andrew Stanton?
Didn't
I
we
go,
have...
oh my gosh, it's you. And he goes, yes, it is, yes, it is. I go, I'm regressing talking to you. He's regressing. It was the best phone call ever.
Well, we had dinner over at Phyllis Diller's house.
They come, they eat, they leave. That's our lot in life. It's not a lot, but it's our life.
She toured us all around the house. She lived there by herself. She had that one room for her gowns, one room for the wigs, one room for the shoes. But then we went into the room, they had the card files, and all of her jokes were like on library card files. And that was so much fun. We stood there, the four of us, and we'd thrown through it and handed her a joke, and she'd sit there and she'd read it like she would, and then end it with that great laugh.
Remember how she, if you turned the card over, it told it who she bought the joke from and how much she paid for it.
Every joke she had.
It was fascinating.
I'm a royal ant and I can't even fly yet. I'm too little.
The amazing young actress who did Princess Dot, Hayden Panettiere.
She was the most professional, was she 8 or 9?
Yeah.
I'm not at the least bit shy.
That's for sure.
There was one part where John was talking to her.
This whole circus troupe is flying away from you, and you're saying,
Bye!
we'll miss you. Bye. Come back and see us.
Bye! Come and see us next year.
Yeah.
I think next season.
And she's standing there with the pencil.
And John went, okay. And
You know, she
you
remember
realized
she
you didn't have to direct her at all.
The very last line there.
Okay.
Favorite.
I don't need it. I can just say it.
It's impossible to look back with a trained eye and ear now. And you just go, wow, by talent or luck, we got some great people.
Well, remember, we were in a casting session. It was down at Disney. I'll never forget sitting next to you. And we were reading Dave Foley for some other part.
Yep.
And we were big fans of Kids in the Hall.
He was so excited to meet us.
He's so excited because he loved Toy Story so much and stuff. And he started reading.
Thank you, Your Highness. Oh, sure. I'd like to take credit for all of this, but that wouldn't be right. Because
Andrew
it was
and I
you.
wrote notes to each other as he was reading of, I said flick. And then, I mean, he was expecting a smaller part, and then we came to him and said, we would like you to do
I don't think he
the
believed
main,
us at first.
I know.
the main character, right?
So cute.
You have got to help me. Give me some time. I'll come up with a plan.
Just go tell him the truth.
Joe Ranft was one of, like, Andrew, Pete, Joe, they're like kings of the scratch recording. You guys did nearly all the voices, and Joe did so many voices.
Joe was the king. He was so good at it.
A cute little bumblebee, and then he starts with, one of my favorites, of course, was Heimlich.
Here I come, flitting through the meadow.
Right. And Joe started doing the voice, and it always made us laugh hysterically, right?
Slow down, you flowers!
We then hired this one actor that was really quite funny. We thought, oh, he's really funny. And we had a screening. And I always take a version home to show my family. And I remember my wife, Nancy, sitting watching it. And every single time Joe was doing the voice of Heimlich, she was sitting there giggling because we had it half and half.
Right.
And the other guy was doing it, she wasn't laughing. And I just observed that. And I came in the next day and said, Joe, you've got the part.
I am a cute little bumblebee. Leave them alone. They have poo-poo hands. Bubba all gone. Baby wants pie.
Joe just constantly made us laugh on this movie. He was just so great.
Heart and soul.
Yeah, you bet. Heart and soul of the movie.
Ta-da! Traveling was fun. Yes.
on Toy Story, we started out at the Burbank Hilton, right?
And the
sharing rooms.
That was short-lived.
And then we went to the Ritz-Carlton in Pasadena, right, to stay there. Yeah, that was great. And then the Mondrian, the Ian Schrager Hotel on Sunset Boulevard with Philippe Stark doing the thing had just opened. And you had read it in a magazine or heard about it. And said, we are going there. And so we went there, and I swear it's like the bumpkins from the country pulling in, and the valet,
Taurus rent-a-car.
And the valet parkers are in their Armani suits, and welcome to the Mondrian. Yeah. Oh, I know. Well, also what happened is that Joe had had promised that as soon as the story department sent off the last story sequence, he was going to shave his head. And he did. And we were pulling into the Mondrian Hotel, and I said, Joe, put in your teeth.
Amen, brothers.
Joe had this set of fake teeth that looked like a hillbilly. And he reached down and he put in his teeth, and he pulls into the Mondrian Hotel in the Armani suit. You know, valet comes up, hello, welcome to the Mondrian Hotel. And Joe sticks his head out and goes, is this the Mondrian Hotel? Like that. And the guy wouldn't let him out of the car. And he said, excuse me, sir, do you have a reservation? Yeah, my name's Eisner, Chucky Eisner. My uncle's gonna let me make a movie. And he gets out and he stands up really tall, and this guy looks up at him and he goes, the Mondrian Hotel. And he just walks in and he kept the teeth on.
And he stayed in character all the way through checking in.
But I think the best of all the gags that were played on was when we went to New York. And it was one of the times that you didn't get to go, right? Because it was...
We had gone once before. I'd made Kevin get up at 5 in the morning because I'm a big Today Show fan. And we went and we wanted to be outside to the Today Show in the crowd. And I thought it was
You
all
watch
cool.
it every morning.
And then you asked if I wanted to go. I said, no.
And I had a blast. But then the next time you go to New York, I couldn't go.
You couldn't go. So we had color Xeroxes of Andrew's face, the right size, you know, and they had them put on sticks. And, you know, it's really hard to get yourself on the Today Show outside the thing, but it's really easy to reach through the crowd and put someone else's face and stick it up above.
What's your name? Where are you from? Roxana from Merrimack, New Hampshire.
Okay, and poor like Al Roker, everybody was like...
Al Roker, he comes up to interview someone, all of a sudden these faces come up right next to him and they're wiggling, and there's nothing they can do about it. And of course, they have the set covering the glass so no one can reach in there. But boy, you can reach above the set.
You're doing that exercise segment.
And I said, oh, just turn it slightly. And it caught the sunlight, and it was so bright in the studio. And they're blinking.
And because of the time difference, I get this, crack of dawn call before it's going to start. And
I said, we got down there. I think we got on.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I think we got on.
I remember sitting there. I'm kind of tired. I haven't changed yet or anything. And I'm watching the Today Show, and I'm looking in the crowd for him. And then I see myself.
Was it Ben? your son, didn't he?
Yeah,
you
he goes,
told us.
Was that what it was?
Yeah.
He said,
He goes,
Daddy, there you
Daddy,
go.
there
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the story because, Daddy, that's you. And I go, no,
And he goes, and there.
And then, then I saw myself, I'm like, and I remembered then just going, oh no. And my mind started racing. And sure enough, then I'm showing up everywhere. And I am screaming at the top of my lungs, swearing your guys' names in my living room, going, no! And for the next 2 hours, I just showed up everywhere.
That was so good.
It was hysterical. And it prompted me to then, you know, get real payback, at least with Darla and Nemo. Well, should we give the topper story that happened to the movie? Well, I don't know how it started. You probably know how. One of you guys knows how it started. I remember just getting the call, like, how would you like to show the movie to the President of the United States?
Yeah.
We got this call from Steve Jobs saying that we have been invited to Washington to show A Bug's Life, and this is like a couple weeks before it came out, to the President and the First Lady. And he said, I really want to show it in the theater at the White House, but it's down for repairs, and they want us to come to Camp David for the weekend. And I'm going, and? You have a problem with what? This
Would you be okay with going to Camp David? Well, yeah.
On a private jet.
So we all got on a private jet, and it was like it's Jurassic Park kind of security, kind of getting in there. One car at a time went through the kill zone, right, to get in there. But once you were inside, you were free to go anywhere.
And it's literally like a camp, as if you were to go to a family summer camp.
Yeah,
Cabins.
it's really modest. But I was staying in the same kind of two-bedroom cabin with Steve and Lorene, his wife, and we were in the cabin that Anwar Sadat stayed in for the Peace David Accords. And in the guest book, it's like...
Yeah, there's a guest book for each cabin.
Oh, my goodness.
One of my favorite moments is that we're having the cocktail party. We're all standing around for quite a while. We're just like, you know, gabbing and stuff. And right in the middle of it, John goes, do you remember what you said?
Yeah, I said, this is so cool. I said that in front of the President of the United States, and he goes, I know, isn't it?
There's a picture of Clinton talking to you and me, and I swear, Kevin, you look like this.
I know. My best and worst remembrances. I remember shaking his hand going, oh my God, how long have I been holding his hand? Thank you.
I was sitting kind of far back when they were showing the movie, and there was a Secret Serviceman next to me, and he was trying so hard not to laugh because he was on duty, and so he'd be just going, you know, like through the whole movie. It was great.
I was really proud of the movie. I was proud of everybody kind of watching it there, you know. Boy, that was
really cool.
It was really cool. That was really cool.
Yeah. Talk about once in a lifetime. Yeah.
The next morning, we get this great private tour of the White House and the Oval Office. Then we had to get rushed outside by the Rose Garden to be able to watch them come out of the helicopter. And I remember they got halfway across the lawn, and he suddenly looks over and recognizes us and went, hey! And then he went in, and then we had to rush in a car and go back. And within less than 48 hours, suddenly I was back in my living room, and that was just the most surreal 48 hours I've ever had in my life. But that was an amazing way to end the whole journey of the movie.
Yeah.
My gosh.
It was.
So years later, when Incredibles was coming out, the teaser trailer said from the makers of Toy Story, Monsters Incorporated, and Finding Nemo. There's a lot of the animators that came and started on A Bug's Life.
A lot of the leadership of the company.
Right.
In general.
And they were so upset.
Very slighted, yeah.
To see that A Bug's Life was left off this list. So they started bringing in posters and started wearing the shirts and the jackets. And it started this impromptu Bug's Life Appreciation Week.
Right.
But then the great finale on Friday was going to be a dramatic reading from the script of A Bug's Life. Mm-hmm. And Joe, of course, did Heimlich.
Right. Someday I'll be a beautiful butterfly, and then everything will be better.
And Darla got Dave Foley on the phone doing the voice of Flick.
This is too good to be true.
And then it started as an annual event.
It's an annual event now.
I give you Flaming Death! Ready, say final. Final!
We just filed the last model on A Bug's Life. Yay!
I just remember laughing all the time. We just laughed and I mean, whether it was a recording session or in the car, we just laughed.
It's
the
funny,
whole
yeah.
time.
I know I said it before, but it was one of the funnest productions I ever had, but also one of the hardest movies I ever had to work on. So it's depending on what the issue is, I either have really hard memories about it or I have really hysterical memories. But it was really extreme in that sense. I don't think I've ever had that much laughing and that much pain simultaneously each day.
It's true.
You know?
Me too. I mean, I think it has one of my favorite sequences in all of our films is when Flick flies. There's something about that in widescreen.
That scene is the epitome of what we were always striving for in the movie. I mean, you could argue whether or not we hit it all the time, but that was the movie we were going for. That was it, right there, that scene.
And I was very proud of that.